we're going to play the Allies this time. Normally for this, I've been playing the Germans because they were the ones, you know, had the goals to achieve. But this is the Westwall. Hit the Westwall. So, well, let's read here. I haven't actually read this. So September 44. So this is much earlier than the Battle of the Bulge. The U.S. 5th Corps is in the position to test the West Wall defenses and strike deep with the 5th Armored Division to reach the valuable Bitburg area. Historically, the offensive was on the verge of succeeding when General Leonard T. Giro, commander of the 5th Corps, ordered a halt short of the goal, expecting a strong German counterattack. Worried by the poor supply levels after the war, German General Westphal wrote that more decisive attack would have broken the German front with unimaginable results. Okay, so this is suggesting that we should really push hard here. Normal, speed, fog of war, uncertainty, historical weather. Yes, we're going to do all of that. 4 settings, and obviously you can change that. Okay, so the Germans get the first turn. They're moving around. This is what we can see here. Some opportunity fire. Okay, so round 1, morning overcast, weather predictions, overcast, afternoon overcast, so mist coming later. Axis has 126 VP points occupied the map. Axis needs 180. So we received a bunch of cards. Good. Okay. I don't know how well the AI is going to play the game in an offensive manner, so I thought this would be a good test to try to play the game from the ally side here for this, and this is obviously from the scenario description what is sort of meant to be. So we're meant to push into here, secure the various Bitburg or enough other lesser points to deny them an 80-point marginal victory at least. So that is the goal. So let's take a quick look at our cards. We need to understand we just use 12 political power per turn. So we could do roadblock U.S. Army, okay, an armored infantry battalion. Wow, we're only 18. 105 millimeter artillery, 155 millimeter artillery engineer battalion. So we've got a lot of reinforcements that we can bring into the game. Fuel, so we do have extra fuel if we need it, extra supply, and replacements. These replacements filter into the strength of individual units. Reduced because I guess air or something, but we do have air strikes. So air recon. Strikes, okay. Click here. Now let's come over here and click. Okay, so now some of these units, because I did play the first 2 turns of this, so I really haven't played it much, but some of these units here are, I think, frozen or something. We'll see here. Recon, so yeah, these guys we can't move, but these guys we can. So Lunsford, commander of the 5th Division, and over here we do have an offensive bonus if we want to use it to get across there, but I don't know with some of our forces that's where we want to hit with. Okay, so we're going to go to some gamers standard with a lot of games. Use the artillery, try to use the artillery as effective force. They're light casualties, but there's not a lot of them there. Use the 18 priests, 105 millimeter howitzers. So, yeah, they got a Pack 37 and 130 Schutzschwung, rear sort of area type troops. So let's move up our armor. And we're going to move these guys. We're going to attack with these guys here. 4-1. That sounds good. We could try to bring in some more. Okay, they panic. We did take a few casualties, but we're getting across a bridge here. Okay, you can't attack. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna come up to here. When we get across this river. Is this the sour river? Is it really that sour of water? Okay. Pack 36, yeah, door knocker. Yeah, even look. Well, I guess they abandoned their Pack 36 or something when they retreated. All weapons are useful. Okay. Do never discount, a sharp, pointy stick, whether it's on a spear, an actual sort of spear, or pike or something like that, or whether it's just literally a stick that is sharp and pointy. Never discount any weapon. Again, sometimes when I look into details of games, I start getting disappointed. So sometimes it's better for me to just sort of presume the developers of the game. I'm not talking about Decisive Campaigns here, making this particular game. I'm just talking generally speaking. So I'm just sort of presume things are done well, unless I start looking into them, and then sometimes I'm surprised. Sometimes pleasantly. It's not always a bad thing, but okay. A Pack 36 is still damned useful in September 1944. How is it useful? Well, it can still penetrate just as much armor as it could in 1939. So something like an M5 Stuart tank, depending on where it's hitting, and it's maybe not so much the frontal glacis, but depending on where it's hitting, it very well might penetrate that. The Germans, of course, were repurposing a lot of their 37mm guns to mount them on half-tracks and stuff, so that they were used in an infantry fire support role, and they do make a high explosive round. Obviously they have the 37mm anti-aircraft round that they could be using, that sort of high explosive round, and so that could be nicely shot at attacking infantry, if you have those rounds available with the gun. The other thing they did, and I'm going to butcher the word here, the Germans did make for these, called the Stahlgate or whatever. It was a hollow charge that you put over. You had to, and they'd actually had a manual that showed how to do the slit trench, that had a you crawl in, or get in front of it, and you would load it from the front, and you would fire it with a blank charge. I think for every one of the projectiles came with a blank charge or something, and it would shoot it much further than a Panzerschreck, and shoot a hollow charge round. I don't know if it would take out a jumbo, but it would take out a Sherman or whatever if it hits it in a good spot. So these weapons are still useful. They ain't no Pack 40 though. They ain't sitting back in a ways here and making Shermans go pop when they're being hit with a 75mm high velocity round. But they're still useful, and so you never sort of discount any sort of weapons. And we saw in the attacking force, they had half tracks. You can shoot that 37mm at a half track, and in a way they're more useful than bazookas because they have greater range. So yeah, no, it's obviously, if that's all your defenses are, things are going to be pretty pathetic. But yeah, all right. Okay, so now we have here at Minden. Is that where the famous Battle of Minden happened? Probably not, but I don't know. Okay, that unit can't move, but some of these other units can. let's see here. We can get these Greyhounds and Stuart with a 105 short bow. We're going to move these guys up into here. We're going to get across the river. You see the bridges are blown here and here and here. Okay, they can come up to there. They can come up to here. Okay, so we spotted those guys. 5 to 1. They have something that, oh, okay, they have, looks like a Volks artillery, people's artillery, but heavy guns of some sort, and 105, another Volks artillery unit. So we may get counter battery fire, but we're at 5 to 1, so we're going to shoot. Well, we lost a gun, but they've lost 2. We do have the ability to call in more units as the game goes on. We're going to move into there like that. Two to 1. Well, we're going to be offensively minded here. Okay, very indecisive. And we're going to move this up here like that. And that unit is stationary, and so are these. But the AA unit, well, I guess we'll move that up to there. I don't know how much use that's going to be. We're going to move 5th HQ up to here. Right, and back to the cards now again. Okay, just 12. So we really can't get anything this turn. Yeah, keep the door knocker in line, yes. So yeah, no, as you guys can guess, and I know people like Beam Slam, and I will sort of pimp it out now, have watched a lot of my stuff and know that I'm fascinated by World War II. And if you haven't already, I do stream for myself on the weekends mostly on Twitch. So, I love being here at Slytherin TV, but you can check out my Twitch channel, follow that. And I have lots and lots of videos, happy with lots of Slytherin and Matrix games as well as others on my YouTube channel, playing and talking about history like I'm doing now. So if you want to check out my YouTube channel. And what did Mech Gato say? Okay, yeah, the Stahlgranate, that's at 49. A nice addition to the gun. The pack was still a useful weapon when kept within context of, yes, exactly, with what I can do. Just be smart and don't expect a knife to be useful at range in a gunfight. Yes, and actually, I get all your points, including because a knife in a gunfight, well, if you get in close, a knife can be very, very deadly, but, at range, as you talk about, yes, and yeah, exactly, and that's exactly true. But, I'm fascinated by World War II, and I'm fascinated by how the Germans improvised, how they repurposed, reutilized, whether it's literally World War I French tanks that they captured, or more modern, the R-35 and the H-35 light French tanks, how they repurposed them, sometimes keeping them in the mostly original configuration, sometimes, taking the turret off and mounting the 47 millimeter, I forget the exact designation, the 47 millimeter Czech anti-tank gun, the same one that was used on the Panzerjäger 1. Turning them into, and they're actually slower than Panzerjägers, but the tank part of the armor is thicker, but the rest is thinner. So, as tank destroyers, repurposing things like that, or keeping the production line of, at least some of the production lines of the Panzer II open through to the end of the war, basically, but pumping out of them either as a Martyr II, Pack 40 on a tank destroyer Pack 40 situation, or the Wasp, the 105 millimeter howitzer on that small platform, and that's especially with the howitzer is barely working on that small platform. Yeah, the Priest which starts out as a using the M3 Lee or Stuart hulls, no, not Stuart, M3 Lee or Grant, sorry, hulls, and then later the M4 hulls were used, you know, drivetrain and whatnot were used to build up the priests on them as available, which much better handles, you know, space utility of a 105 gun. You know, so the Americans are in essence doing it better, but doing the same type of thing that the Germans are repurposing doing. And I greatly admire that. But also at the same time, it shows me that you shouldn't go in for world conquest mode when you can't build enough vehicles to even satisfy your basic needs. Because I think it was something like 600, I think, at least like 400 plus. But I think it was about like 600 M4 Shermans, perfectly good condition. Hey Lancer, how you doing? And hello, Shoe Event Horizon. Also the Czech tanks, absolutely. I mean, they kept the 38T in production to the end of the war as the Hetzer. I mean, it's the same engine, same drivetrain, same you know, track system, you know, wheels, all that stuff, all that the same. They're just, you know, modifying it and doing all kinds of different things of it through to the end. Absolutely. But the Americans send back, I think it's about 600 M4 Shermans back to America that are perfectly fine, perfectly useful. Because the Americans said, we don't need these. We got new, better Shermans that have shown up. We're going to send these back to America because the ships are going both ways. We might as well send them back to America. And they get reconditioned and sold off during the war, given or whatever. I don't know whether it's sold, lend-lease, whatever, to some Commonwealth forces that thought, yeah, we could use these things because they could use them, you know, in the CBI, you know, China, Burma, India theater, or in the Pacific theater. You know, they could use some of these Shermans. They're perfectly serviceable there for that front. And, you know, Indian or Australian units, yeah, we can use these Shermans. So they get, you know, reconditioned so that they're, you know, ready to go again, but not like gun improved or armor improved, just basic recondition. It gets sent out. So America is able to pump out so much tanks that instead of having them get knocked out or become ultra unusable to a degree as a sort of tank in the field and being reconverted like a lot of the early Marder 3, the Czech tanks, you know, given those 75 millimeter, well, started out with the 76 millimeter gun, then the 75 millimeter conversion jobs, and then later dedicated production until the Marder or until the Hetzer comes out as a dedicated production for the 75 millimeter Marder 3s, the third version. So, you know, I admire the Germans' ingenuity, but also goddamn stupidness to take on the world with such limited resources. And of course, they're the ones choosing to take on the world and not being forced into it, like being attacked. Okay, so that is, I think, going to be our turn. And I hope you find my style interesting, of talking and not just playing the game. I do very much appreciate it, and you know, I was watching the previous Richard of York, you know, fighting the commies in Vietnam, and you know, his enthusiasm and whatnot. Okay, so they're still yeah, winning, but we received some more cards. Okay, so we're across the river. I noticed some units that were retreating. These guys now are a bit weaker because they've been attacked. No, yeah, we're not going to do that. But we are going to do that. Oh, that's counter battery fire. Okay, well, that ain't going to be good. We're going to see about... Now that we have some time, cards, air support. We're going to play this card and we're going to strike there. Due to weather overcast, only 11 of the 50 aircraft managed to participate in the mission. 11 aircraft participating. The airstrike caused 0 structural damage. Air caused 250 traffic points on the enemy. I guess that's that. Destroyed 122mm R, presumed for Russian. Gun, 3 Opel Blitzes and 2 Muleters. Okay. Again, use the American superpower of that. I think I'm going to do a second airstrike. Even though, because I do have the power for them, I think. Yes. So we're going to do a second airstrike on this X. Yes, okay, 15 aircraft. More structural damage, 700 traffic. Okay, got an RSO, 222mm, 152mm. Those are all Russian captured guns. 2 Opel Blitzes and 2 Muleters. Okay, so we've got that. We'll see about playing some other cards. We just used up some there. Looks like they're pulling out from here. Now, okay, they're not yet able to move. There. Leave that alone for the moment. Let's move you to here. We were to attack. Okay, 7-1. That seems like decent odds. Okay, they retreated, lost some units. We lost a little bit. Okay, they pulled back to there. Whatever's left, we're gonna get 2 units. A little bit retreated out. Okay. We got a little bit of fire at us as we moved. 1 to 2 odds. We'll think about that one. These guys are still stuck in place. Right. Well, yeah, let's do this. We're going to play the card. Okay, we're going to. I want to see what's going on here. Only 2 of the 10 craft. Okay, 22 flak managed to propel. 0 over. We managed to. Okay. Okay, notice this area is much lighter, so I don't see anything there. I want to go unit view here. Engineers, tanks. Just see if we have a good reconnaissance type unit here. Oh, hello. No, we don't need to do a 1-to-1 attack right now. Get some tanks. See some Germans up there. These guys this way. Okay, pounding them a little bit more there. Counter battery fire, but going to move them in to help hold in case there's a counterattack. Now here, okay, they can't attack. Well, 3-1 now is good enough. So yeah, we'll do this. Take a lot of casualties, more than I like. Okay, well, now here can no. Okay, they can't. They can. No, 10-1's good enough. We need to push. We need to push. They held, but we need to push. Now again, I want to. Well, okay, we could. We got 17 points. You guys are seeing how much I like to use artillery, so big artillery. Okay. Well, let's bring them in here. Play card. New unit deployed. Photo scarcities photo. Okay. Okay, so now we have the 11th artillery or whatever. 12 155 millimeter howitzers. So that is doing well. Oh, and we can actually shoot it this turn. Okay, well, I wish we would have done it earlier. No return fire expected. Let's. Yep, got a Panzer IV, infantry, some other stuff. Good. Okay, so there we go. I think that'll be all for our turn. They're pulling back there. They're pushing into here. They're coming up around there. It's firing at our artillery, at our tanks. We're firing something at our tanks. That just means fire on them at range as opposed to assaulting them. Okay, so their casualties get them down, and we're moving to get more victory points. Okay, these guys are freed up now. Good. Okay, probably these guys will be too. Yes. Good. Okay, so unless we have a bridging unit, we can't get across here. We're going to have to go down that way. Okay, we'll have to see about it. They capitulate. Do we have more air support? Yes. Okay, still reduced because of weather, but these guys just look so weak. No return fire expected, so we're going to attack. Okay, we killed two muleteers, which looks like maybe all that they had there. Okay, well, we spotted those guys up there. That's good to know. That looks like a command. Yeah, staff, 40 staff. They got an 88, and they got a couple of flat 20mm single barrel flat guns, it looks like. 2-1, yep, we need to be aggressive. We need to be aggressive. They're okay, good. And only now did we spot that unit there. 6-1 as. Good enough to be worthy of an attack. Okay, these guys are going to swing around through here. Oh, these guys. Oh, they can cross the bridge there. Oh, okay. No, we're taking. Oh no, just you can look at the details, but exactly what we're firing at them with. Yeah, some mortars, a little bit of half-track machine guns. Okay, the force on left flank. Incident. Were there any good British tanks in World War II? Yeah, the Matilda too. You know, okay, for 1939, 1940, even into 1941, you know, it. Yeah, you know, we talked about earlier useful weapons. Um, if you hit a Matilda with enough 37 millimeter rounds, you'll jam up the tracks eventually. You'll maybe hit the, I play a lot of War Thunder, but I think they're overly easy to hit gun barrels and damage them there. I have been trying to look for historical photos of gun barrels clearly hit by, a projectile of, whether it's coming from a tank or an anti-tank gun or something, trying to figure out how often it happened in reality versus how often it happens in the game. But you can eventually pick something like that, a Matilda apart. But even then, the Germans were almost incapable of doing that, even to the Char Bs, which have some weaker points on it. They had to bring up, Rommel had to bring up, I think it was either Char Bs or Matildas. I think it was Matildas that he was firing. Brought up some 88 millimeter guns to operate as anti-tank guns, and they already knew about using the 88s as anti-tank guns from Spain, because that's when they first practically started using the 88 millimeter anti-aircraft guns as anti-tank. So those really, to be able to knock those guns out in an effective as opposed to a desperate manner, you needed to bring in the 88. So you had that. A lot of the British tanks, because partially I think because they're cruiser tanks, they start with C, like Cromwells and Covenanters and whatever. So I sort of get some of them. But you even look at like the Crusader tanks. I mean, they're still bolted on or riveted on armor, not bolted, but riveted. But they're doing pretty good until you get in the longer barreled, the 50 millimeter barreled Panzer IIIs as well as the Panzer IVs, because the early Panzer IIIs, the L24 gun, short barreled one, doesn't have much armor penetration. It has less than the 37 millimeter one, until they develop the hollow charge, the hollow shaped rounds, and then they get better armor piercing. But so against those early tanks, even those Crusader 2, Crusader 3s, some of the later ones, they're actually doing pretty good, and they're fast. They got nicely sloped armor, and compared to the Italians, they're doing great compared to the Italians. So, and those are just sort of, 1940-41 range of stuff. Later in the war, the Churchills, they're big, slow infantry tanks. So you're looking at a design concept that America has never really followed. It's a design concept from the British standpoint, comes out of World War II, and not just as an infantry support tank, but a tank that could go into quote unquote no man's land of World War I, be shot at it from all sides, whether it's guys just hiding down in shell holes or trenches, popping up behind them with an anti-tank rifle or even an anti-tank gun, fairly lightweight. And being able to shot at from all sides and still be able to, and have a bunch of them there for some mutual support for sure, but to be able to be shot at and wade into the enemy infantry or enemy defensive lines and shoot the place up and shrug off lots and lots of rounds. Well, okay, that's not really how World War II ever really works. I mean, we can find examples in North Africa or wherever where something like that does happen. Most of the time, though, they're used as an infantry support tank, not as like a panzer thrust driving forward, but moving up. And so that they're able to sit out, in a terrain like this, sit out in the open, have the Pack 40, sort of entrenched at the corner of a building, shooting at them, and they're shrugging off the rounds from their frontal glacis, and taking out that artillery, anti-tank artillery in this case, position, and the machine gun position next to it, and a few other things like that, in direct support of an infantry attack. And so it's a different concept than either the Germans or the Americans conceptually fight as. But so the Churchills are very good for what they're designed to be. Yeah, for the amount of heavy armor, they mostly aren't going to be taking out Tigers. It depends on the gun. In the last final version, the Black Prince did have a good gun on it. But also, the British develop... hey, hello, Der Hobby General. Thanks for the raiding parties. Thanks. Yes, the Matilda was slow, and I will look at the... yes, thanks so much for the raid. Great, I wasn't watching the chat. Yeah, great weapon. Absolutely the 88. So, yeah, but you see, the Matilda and the Churchills are slow because they're designed to be. They're designed to be an infantry support tank. How much freaking armor can we put on this tank and still move it? And what kind of engine is immediately available to put into these vehicles? So they're slow. They're infantry support. That's what they're designed to do. The British also have the cruiser tank concept of a fast tank, which, say, like the Crusader was. And of course, in my opinion, the best tank of World War II actually used in combat is the Centurion, which was a British tank used in the latter stages in 45 in Europe, barely got into combat. And the South Africa is still using an upgraded version that they've upgraded multiple times. Yes, later versions get better. New production of them get better over time. But the Centurion is one of the best tanks. That is definitely a main battle tank. We could argue about whether the Panther's a main battle tank or concept or whatever, but we're entering the post-World War II era of main battle tanks. With the Centurion, I would argue the hands down best. Yes, there's more powerful guns. Yes, there's thicker armor on some IS or JS, Joseph Stalin 2s, or 3s, towards the end of the war. Yeah, but really as a good all-round vehicle, I would say the Centurion is the best tank of World War II, barely used. And hello, Eric. Hello, my friend. So let me check up. Thanks, Hobby General, for the raid. Really do appreciate it here. All of us. So if you're new here, please, if you're new here, everyone, understand, the more you watch Slitherine TV, the more free games and DLCs you can get from Slitherine and Matrix. Just follow the channel and hit that follow button. And you can watch. You earn Sliths, which is a coin that you can redeem for, and you can scroll down and see the details. You'll see down below the chat to scroll down. See the details of how you earn the coins just by being, you subscribe. You actually get better, but subscribe or following the channel, you earn points, and then you can redeem those for free games and DLCs, and you can see what's currently available, if anything there. So yes, actually watching this channel is profitable to you, so please, everyone, hit the follow button if you like. Okay, how much longer will this stream last? Hello, unknown. Well, I'm probably going to go another 40 minutes or more. I'm going to go a bit long since there's nobody after me and I'm having fun playing, and hopefully you guys are having fun watching. So did not have, yes, Shoe Event Horizon, you're right. The British tanks, they had good, well, it depends on the tank, or the gun barrel. They had good HE. What they did not have was good explosive filler armor penetration rounds. They were either like solid projectile armor penetration rounds or high explosive rounds to knock out said anti-tank or machine gun position. So they did not have, they did have those, but not a high explosive filler anti-tank round. Yes, so everyone here, so please follow along, you get free things. Thank you so much, Mr. Hobby General. We really appreciate it here. There's many great here. Yeah, heat. Yeah, And you know, I've often wondered, and I've never had a good, and it would be a good question for the Chieftain. I don't know if you know the YouTube channel, to answer if why the British, just to give you a bit of a story. I love telling stories. I hope you guys like hearing them, not just watching gameplay, but hearing about things. The British got early on, you know, grants from America. Actually, they started with the grants, and then they actually got some leads because not enough grants were showing up. Those are just slightly different turret versions. And those are the big American tanks with the 37 millimeter gun in the turret and the 75, if you don't know, millimeter gun down in the sponson, and the M3 mediums, as the Americans would call them. They got those. Since the gun was based off of the French 75 that the Americans had from World War I, they literally still had them in the arsenal, and actually were putting the World War I guns on half-tracks as tank destroyers, you know, leftover World War I pieces. Because early on, America wasn't up to production capabilities that they needed to be. The projectiles that they were using, that the Americans were sending, were designed as artillery projectiles, you know, to go up into the air and come down, and they worked just fine. But when they came in and exploded on a sort of a horizontal target, whether onto the ground, you know, to like knock out a machine gun position, or on a tank, you know, horizontal bit of armor on the tank, they wouldn't necessarily explode very well. And so the British in, you know, the Egyptian, you know, in Egypt and the Western Desert, that whole theater command, what becomes the Eighth Army, whatnot, realizing this deficit, and so what they do is they've captured a lot of German supplies, including you know, the rounds for the 75 millimeter. L-24 gun, that's the short stubby one on the Panzer IV, as well as other vehicles. And they capture a bunch of rounds for that. And they also capture, in invading Syria, they capture a bunch of the French 75 millimeter rounds going up in there. Because again, whether they were made in 1939 or made in 1918, I don't know. But you know, ammunition that fits the gun breech and barrel system, but set up for their howitzers. So what the British actually do is take both of those rounds apart and put the German 75 millimeter projectile on the French 75 millimeter casing and use them through to the end of the Western Desert camp, or through the North Africa campaign, because they have enough reserve of them. And they found those that are even better. The late America eventually corrects the problem of the angle of impact with the feedback from the British. But they actually really like the German round combination with the French project, you know, out of that. So they use it. So the British Army knows about the idea of wanting to have a penetrating round that explodes after impact and does a lot of damage. They know that in the field, but for some reason back in Britain they never get the memo. They never design a round that has, as far as I know, that, you know, is an armor penetrating projectile with explosive filler to go off after inside. They will, you know, when they're using American tanks, they got some American ammo, you know, whether it's the Shermans or, you know, because, you know, obviously they then, you know, come up with various models with the 17 pounder in them. But when they're using American tanks, they'll use American projectiles that have explosive filler in them, but they never make them themselves. And I don't know where the disconnect comes from. I just don't know that, because I see them on the front lines wanting it, using it, you know, just making it, putting the combo together to make it work, but they don't produce it. So I don't know the disconnect there, but you're absolutely right. And they never do go for the heat. Yes, thanks everyone for following. Do appreciate the new follows here. There are many great streamers on the channel streaming many great games. Okay, so back to Decisive Campaigns, Ardennes Offensive. Okay, so we're going to push up here, hopefully get into there without, and there could be units hiding in there. Okay, and we don't know how far we want to go with that. Now, here, yeah, we'll fire here. No expected return fire. Let's see, take out 3 be 5 squads. I think these are squads, not individual. Units, what would be, okay, I just want to see what the odds are here. Yeah, I think we're going to attack here with them. Okay, so they retreat. And we're going to move up. Move up. Here we're going to move to here, and we're going to attack with these guys. They retreat again. And I'm going to guess there's somebody there. There still could be somebody there. Could be. Again, this game is set, so we can see the hex here. We can see up here what it looks, what the idea of this hex, because we can click over here. Just generic pictures, but type of terrain. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to go in there. Okay, so that was a safe move. Hello, Jonathan. This is the logistic system on this game. I'm already used to the one in Shadow Empire. Okay, the logistic, okay, we got supply here. So supply coming, this is your supply paths coming up. Units have a certain amount. Green here, down in the bottom right corner is current actual supply in the unit. On the other side here is fuel. So fuel and supply are two different things. There you can get cards that can bring in more supply dumps and whatnot. I guess we don't have a rear area here. Yeah, we can bring in extra supply. So there is supply here, and it's pretty sophisticated. So you need to maintain your supply lines. If you don't, units get cut off. As combat happens, you use up your supplies if you don't have what's following on. What's the best recon vision unit in this game? These units, and we're going to go over to unit. These units are a go back to move. Here we can see this this unit here is made up of all of this element down here. 330 GI veterans, 130 GI green, 33 GMC trucks, 24 bazookas, 8 60mm mortars, 22 half tracks with 50 cals on them, 3 half tracks with 75mm howitzers. These are sort of the mountain howitzers, the light American, not the French from World War I, and 3mm mortars. And so we can see here the sort of line of vision, and so it's all of these elements that make up for what it can see. And it's sort of complicated. I guess I don't have a better answer than that. There very well can be units, like here we have, the M5 Stuart as a reconnaissance vehicle. So there are definitely units that are a bit more designed with armored cars. And you can click on this, and you can go down to this vehicle, selected troop stats, attack, current, experience, favorite, morale, quality, ratio, readiness, recon points. So this has 1 recon point. Okay, so we can compare that to the 76mm. I really haven't. I'm just sort of average on skill on it. So it's same as a 76mm Sherman recon points. So that gives you an idea that it is a very deep kind of system here, and I don't have a simple answer for you on that. Well, thank you, Eric. And while I'm waiting for print to finish, yes. Eric has recently, Eric's a friend of mine. Eric's recently got a 3D printer, and it has been printing out all kinds of things going on here. Okay, so they've fired. Oh, no, we need, okay, yeah, okay, they've fired. Let's get back up to here. So That's the HQ. The HQ is going to move to there. These guys are going to move up to here. The priests, these guys are going to move up to here. They don't want to keep everybody in the rear. We spotted that. 2 Panzer IVs, a Panther, a Panzerschreck. We're going to see if there's any. Okay, secure that town. Now that we've spotted those Panzers, we're going to come up through the trees here. And trees, elevation, all of that affects your spotting ranges and effects. Ah, yes, he's printing up an ancient Remington rolling block round from Scandinavia right now, so he's having a lot of fun with that. Right, okay. Here, these guys are sort of out of supply because of the road, because, like, again, we can't hook here. They're coming up through here, so that's, I guess, enough to supply them. We don't want to keep pushing here. I think we'll go along the road. Okay, no return fire expected. So, okay, they held. Right. Okay, 12. We need to save up because I want to get some more of these units onto the field, as it were. Some more artillery, some more ground units brought in, and yeah, let's. Okay, so night turn coming up. So we're pushing in again on this game. There's for each day there's 3 daylight turns, morning, afternoon, and evening, or whatever, and then 1 night turn, and that's, I think, very appropriate. And that significantly cuts down. Okay, they've, by moving forces around, they've sort of, okay, fire from an unknown source. So we got fired at from somewhere there. I wanted to reconnect that. We're going to put artillery on that position, whatever's there. They're cut off at the moment. They're still going to be there. Did they pull out at night? Okay, ambush, yes. So they're still there. You could fire them as, all together in a barrage, but I'm just choosing to fire each artillery unit on its own. Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's try a night assault. Trying to be aggressive. Okay, they held out. We lost a bit. They didn't lose much. Right, okay, well, now we got Armored Infantry Battalion, 18. Well, we do have 18 points. Tank Destroyers. I think an Armored Infantry Battalion. So let's see, where do we want to put up there? That would not be a bad idea for a a push around this flank towards Mittendorf. Or we could come down here and deploy it somewhere. I think we're going to deploy it up here. New unit deployed. Okay. Close the cards window. Okay, so we have this nice new battalion, 400 GI veterans, a little bit of green. Okay, good stuff. About some light movement here. There we go, coming around their flank. Here. This is all uncrossable, so we're going to go over here with that infantry. And let's get the armor headed that way. Oh. So time to get, yeah, okay, thanks to Hobby General for showing up in the raid, do appreciate it. Cool to hear. Nice to be in team leader. All right, so we are pushing on the enemy. We are, okay. They're putting some artillery fire on us in the morning. Okay, the situation as the morning comes. Yeah, we are in the mist. That will really help us to not be shot upon at while moving. Uh-oh, killing some horses. They think 4-1. Yeah. Should have gone harder. And thank you for following. We do appreciate it. They 22-1. They retreated. I expected this other unit to retreat. Okay, we have these guys that are surrounded up here. That's what I was trying to break through to. Okay. Okay. And so let's be just somewhat smart about this, not too smart. We'll put some artillery on it. Whatever it is, it's in the mist. Yeah, we don't know. 32 it thinks. Let's see. Well, we lost a bunch of tanks and they retreated. Okay, and we're gonna continue to push. They capitulated. Nope. Now that was a mistake. Okay, well we're not gonna attack there. Okay. Now. Okay, like I thought, there's somebody there. We're gonna use this okay, we're gonna bring the tanks up this way, and if we can occupy this book. Ambush in the mist. We just don't see so well. And we're gonna still come around with these guys. And can we? No. Okay. Well, 7-1. Okay. Oh, I should use my artillery. Could have used my artillery. It would have fired. Would have done. Okay, well. Huh. Maybe we're just pushing too hard, not playing smart. Well, we have another card here. We got 18 points. And yes, I'm thinking about, but I think we're going to save some points and we're going to play a, yeah, over here, play it. I really don't have as much artillery as I'd like, but this shouldn't be too big of a problem. Okay, oh, hold on. Let's come to officers. Okay, visit HQ to increase units, or visit HQ and what is it? Supercharge offensive bonus for. Okay, we'll play this card. I cannot play the card there. Okay, well then cancel. Okay, well then never mind. 5-1. They held, okay. Yeah, now of course if I was playing smart, I would be coordinating these attacks. That's at least somewhat better. They held, but they're being hit from both sides. They can't move. I think we'll do that. Commanded supply coming a little closer. Now. Well, okay. No. That's everybody was kung fu fighting or some such thing. Let's see how well hitting them nice and hard and heavy will do. And right now, air power would be, if even possible. I mean, I have just 3 points, but it's canceled because of the fog. So, I went through the open here. Probably troops in there with this fog, but so I won't try to bash my way in. Okay. One of the reasons I haven't been using Unix, I didn't want to use the supply up until I reconnected with it. Hopefully it can hold out. Missed. Still okay. On the miss, I'm betting there's troops in there. Now, okay, that's now opening this line of back up. See, they went to red with their supply situation. I think there's going to be some forces, okay, there maybe there that have withdrawn to here. That's who I was going to shoot at with these guys. No. Not unknown odds, that's a little too much, or even for me. I hate forces in my rear. Well, maybe we can just kill it. Oh. 101. Yes, thanks for following, Gray Mantle. I'm getting that right. Oh, bounced into these guys. Well, lovely. Okay, that's what artillery here is for. Ooh, took out 2 Panzer IVs. Very good. Details here. Units, okay. We're sitting in there. No, we're not going to attack. Yeah, the miss that they're still in there. So, yeah, they've been spending their whole turn shooting or moving or shooting. Okay. Yeah, I want to get you forward into the. And now that we've got 15 points, bring more forces back out onto the field. Okay. Yeah, 105mm artillery pieces. Here. Don't think we need to be too far forward. And I think it can shoot this turn. Right. Had a few things that theoretically could have shot back, but no damage. So we're doing pretty good. I sort of want to move you forward along with you. I don't think you're doing any particular good back there. Well, give them another turn here. Don't know why the AI is sort of hanging here. Huh? Well, I think we had a bad thing happen. Well, guys, not sure what's going on, but I want to pimp out my channel again. I like to play games and talk about the history around them. I do that a lot on YouTube, got lots and lots of videos there. So you can subscribe over there. And I stream mostly, I love streaming here on Slytherin TV, but I also stream for myself mostly on the weekends on Twitch, so you can follow that there. We've gone a little over time, which is fine with me because there was nobody coming up after me, but student quality assurance 1533. I think we had a crash. That's the only thing I can determine with this. So, yeah, we can go back to an earlier save at some point, but I think I will be ending here today. Yeah, you defeated the AI. Yes, Beam Slam. I crashed the AI. But yeah, something went wrong here. I don't know what it is. But so thanks T-Rex. Thanks Beam Slam. I will be back continuing to play this. Hopefully, I'm gonna go to. I'll go check out one of the earlier saves and make a save. I'll be continuing to play this. Starting roughly 2 hours ago on Friday, coming up on Friday. So, and tomorrow morning or whatever morning for me here in California, I guess afternoon or whatever, there's going to be the big Home of the Wargamers special on this channel here on Slytherin TV from the Slytherin headquarters. So you might want to catch it to see, I guess, a lot of upcoming announcements and interviews and things. So hope you check that out as well. So thanks everyone. I